But that fire and another one that broke out over the weekend are reminders that wildfires happen year-round in Colorado now.
Yeah, this morning we're taking a 360 in-depth look at this new reality of year-round fires, where Colorado snowpack stands and its impact on fire conditions, our water sources, and our drought conditions. We'll also walk you through the fire mitigation efforts underway. So that's where we'll start. The Biden administration announced it is investing more than $31 million in 15 landscape restoration projects. The funds are supposed to help reduce the risk of wildfires and improve our watershed health. Colorado and New Mexico will receive $3 million. It'll go to reducing fire risk along the Rio Chama River. Southwest Colorado will get another $3 million to help the Southwest Colorado Restoration Initiative. It's a 1.9 million acre project to help the ecosystem adapt to the changing environments. Colorado lawmakers are tackling several bills related to wildfires. Two focus on volunteer firefighters. More than half of our state's departments rely on volunteers. The bills would provide better equipment, training, and mental health resources.
People don't think about that much, but we've had fires in the state where we've lost firefighters, and there's some real behavioral health issues there. And this bill puts in $1 million towards that, but it's the training and get the equipment, everything they need.
Other legislation is to help with wildfire recovery. A bill introduced last week would provide tens of millions for residents, businesses, even governments that were underinsured to help them rebuild after a disaster. It is a retroactive bill. Those affected by the Marshall Fire would be able to apply for funding if it passes.
As leaders prepare for the reality of more wildfires, our state's snowpack levels are peaking. Denver 7's Veronica Costa looked into this, and the figures here are important, Veronica, because our future water supply and our fire danger really depend on the snowpack.
It does, and this month is typically the time of the year when we see those snowpack levels really peak in our state. And now here's the really good news. So far this year, our snowpack, it's doing better than it was last year. In a really good snowpack year, we could see those values above 100%. This year, we only range from about 70 to 100% of normal peak values. When it comes to fires in Colorado, this is why this is so important. Snow helps those not happen as often, we know that. But when there's no snow on the ground, there's more fuel for a fire to burn. And with Colorado in a drought, that's a reality that we know a little bit all too well.
We sort of need a few more years like this one and even bigger years to start kind of digging out of the long drought that we're in.
And in years where we have really low snowpack, sometimes we do see impacts from that, where we may see restrictions to watering if it's low enough. That all connects back to snowpack.
So snowpack and fire danger, they go hand in hand. That's why this is a really good reminder to go ahead and protect your home, especially if you live near the mountains. Any fuels a fire could burn should be somewhere between 5 to 30 feet away from your home. In studio, Veronica Costa, Denver 7.
The conservation group American Rivers says the Colorado River is the most endangered river in the country. A new report blames outdated water management practices and climate change for the deteriorating conditions. This is important, of course, because the Colorado River provides drinking water, irrigation, and electricity for more than 40 million people in the southwest and northern Mexico. It's lost 20% of its water levels since the year 2000, and experts worry the levels could drop another 20% by the year 2050.
And to the other side of the state, from the Colorado to the South Platte River, Nebraska's governor signed a bill allowing their state to start building a canal in Colorado to divert water. Governor Pete Ricketts proposed the canal over concerns of Colorado's growing population and additional water consumption. Nebraska leaders said it's meant to protect water rights, but Colorado officials have questioned the need for it. Under the South Platte River Compact approved in 1923, Nebraska is allowed to seize land in Colorado along the river in order to build canals. The project is expected to take at least 8 years to complete, but first Nebraska needs to find more funding. And we want to bring in meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo to take a look at our current drought conditions, because despite the snowpack levels, it's still really dry out there.
It does. It takes years. I mean, this is not something we can make up in one season, but I will say the map does look a lot better than it did just a few months ago. And where you see the yellow areas that cover most of the northern Front Range, that's abnormally dry. That's going to be lowest on our drought monitor risk map. When you look at the areas of red, that's so exceptional and severe conditions there in orange. So we still have some areas south and across parts of, well, the southeastern and southwestern corner of the state that aren't doing great, but it is a lot better. But we could see that change, obviously, as things start to dry out and as we get into spring and summer.